online, on e-commerce, getting into the space of building a brand, is setting goals that are achievable for yourself that you know you can.
And as the CEO, as an entrepreneur, you have to prioritize those things that you love, because this is where your energy sparkles. This is where you are at your best.
Understand which of those two categories you fall under, because that will help you operate at the most optimal level. And if you can find a partner that complements you,
truly understand what the destination is, truly understand the local kind of environment, I think this is super important.
The big piece about selling online, on e-commerce, getting into the space of building a brand, is setting goals that are achievable for yourself that you know you can do. And my goal originally was, I will be in a home run. I will have a fantastic time if I can make $500 in a month. If I can make $500 a month, I can pay for my kids' private school education to not put them in the public school system. That'll be a win, right? And what happens is you stack up wins. So when we got there, I said, wow, this is pretty amazing. Can we do like 1,000? Can we? And what happens is you take that win and you reinforce your own confidence in yourself and saying, if I can do it once, you can do it twice. If you do it twice, you can do it 3 times. And you just continue the discipline of doing the same things that got you there and not just rest and say like it's all over. And part of that, of course, is personal development, reading a lot of books and getting involved in growing yourself.
Do you have one book recommendation if you had to give it? What you'd recommend for those that want to go beyond where they are today?
I think the one of the books for me has been the one that stands out, and I'm thinking about is called the 10X Rule, Grant Cardone. I mean, listen, the point is your goals gotta be big. You know, you gotta go big and attack at things strongly. I mean, there's plenty of books out there, right, that mainly you're going after someone who's done something that you want to do. So you have to pick a role model, right? There's people who have done business, who have done life, and things that you want to do. Look at someone who has something that you want or is doing something you want to do, and read whatever book they have. In today's day, anybody who's successful can write a book and they reach out to people directly. You know, we're in a digital age where we can reach people all over the world.
Right now?
Something I started as a creator, I was editing myself, I was filming myself, everything was done by me, until I realized that it takes me 6 hours to edit a video and I could potentially delegate that. So now I have a team that does almost everything, because I understand that my superpower is to be in front of the camera, creating catchy scripts. That's it. I'm not a good editor, I'm not a good thumbnail designer, and I feel like everyone here who's running an e-commerce business has to be online, either with your own personal brand or at least like utilizing AI to create content for you or hiring someone. So I feel like you really have to come up with a list of things you love doing and things that you don't like doing. As the CEO, as an entrepreneur, you have to prioritize those things that you love, because this is where your energy sparkles. This is where you are at your best. Because otherwise it becomes unbearable. And the book, the recommendation, the 4-Hour Workweek completely changed everything for me. I think it was in 2017. Delegating, batching tasks, just 1 day a week for calls, that's it. 2 days a week for filming, that's it. It kind of creates this mindset of, you know, planning this day to do this, this, and that, and nothing else.
But you work more than 4 hours a week now, right?
No.
I think the book is about mindset, right?
But I still have a healthy work-life balance. I can travel, I have 2 small kids, so it's not like I'm working 9 to 6 every day.
Right, and I think the book is more about shifting your mindset, right, to outsourcing, to not...
Exactly, yeah.
I think a really great book, in my opinion, is Rocket Fuel. For those of you who are maybe struggling to do everything yourself.
That's like an EOS book, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's a great book because it talks about how there's two different types of people in most successful businesses. So you have the visionaries of the world, and then you have the integrators. Right? So the visionaries are the ones that are pushing things forward. They're the ones that are coming up with the ideas and they're leading the team. And then you have the integrator, who's the one who's very systematic. They do, a lot of the grunt work, and you have to understand which of those two categories you fall under because that will help you operate at the most optimal level. And if you can find a partner that complements you, if you're a visionary and you find an integrator, you're unstoppable. And I think that a lot of people struggle with this journey of, entrepreneurship because it feels lonely. But if you can find someone to do it with, it's so much more rewarding. And this book really just nails it on the head.
Your stuff comes into the fulfillment center and they get shipped out. Like, you don't need to spend your time necessarily doing that. You should know how it is, but that was the first person we hired. I'm from Venezuela and I wanted to get jobs and hire people out there, so I went and called people and said, hey, you want to work for me? And we got a person and they did labels and they made shipments and they tracked shipments. Like, no matter how well you do that, you're not going to have a massive change in your business. So really take the tasks that are, let's call it $5 an hour, $10 an hour, $20 an hour task, whatever the task is in your business, assign it a value, right? If you were to get hired out to do this, how much would you be charged? Right? So if you're developing a product line, if you're planning a marketing campaign, if you're doing a video, some influencers might get $10,000 for a video, $500,000 for a video. That's a big impact because it can reach a ton of people. No matter how good you are at making shipping labels, you will never get paid $50 an hour. It's not gonna happen. So if you delineate what your tasks are in a day and stick to those ones that have high return for your business, right? Creating products, could be creating a campaign, hiring, things like that are high level. And if you're spending too much time, just doing kind of the work that won't put your business forward, that's what you need to hire out so you spend more time on the other things.
Well, let's say you wanted to jump in.
Yeah, my first...
So you eagerly wanted to jump in.
Technically, I feel like Amazon's the first company I hired because literally 30% of my margin goes to them, basically, for housing all of our products. Basically taking advantage of their infrastructure was huge for us. Obviously, we could have gone and launched on our own website right out of the gate, but I had no one to sell to, no email list. I had no idea how to find customers. I didn't know how to run a single Facebook ad. That was all very new to me. So basically, essentially, you're partnering with Amazon as a fulfillment center. They have the customer service handled. They do, they take the bulk of the work, especially when you're starting out. So I thought that was also very helpful. And I guess the legitimate, or the first hire was a customer service rep, actually. Once things started to get rolling, we started having people reaching out, asking, oh, where's my order? Or they had issues with it. At first it was me, it was myself. I was literally the one behind the computer screen. I actually changed my name for the emails. I called myself Gabriella. So when I'm signing off on these emails, I'm like, Gabriella, the customer happiness representative. That was me. So the CEO was answering to all these customers, but I learned so much from actually doing that grunt work because you talk to the customer, right? You're gonna figure out what's going on at the front lines, and then eventually you are gonna want to offload that because at the end of the day, if you wanna scale to 7, 8, 9 figures, you can't be answering all of those emails yourself anymore.
Right, and I guess the theme that I'm hearing is think about how much is your time worth an hour. Is it $50? Is it $100? Is it $1,000? And any tasks that do not achieve that for you, you should really be outsourcing everybody else. So you should be documenting as much as possible, either with screenshot type videos or making notes, etc. There's tools out there to do that as well. But Marina?
Oh yeah, talking about instructions, yes, this is number one. Because normally if you start by yourself, and ideally the first hire, I would just do a personal assistant, just because if you're doing everything by yourself, you probably don't have all of the instructions in place. And then once you're ready to delegate something, I would just create a PDF checklist of things that need to be done, my tone of voice in emails, how we talk about our company, how we talk about this, and that. And then an interesting question is also when it comes to KPIs. I'm part of the group of creators who also have their own products, and we're just chatting about what do you guys track as a KPI for a YouTube channel? Do you track views? Do you track subscribers? They're like, no, leads and how they convert into sales. That's it. They don't care about whether the video gets 2 million views, 5 million views, because it doesn't mean that your target audience is watching. So prioritizing the right KPIs for you, because you can set all different kinds of KPIs, like how many emails we're getting, how they're converting, I don't know how many opens you get, but focus on just one metric for every single person, because it just becomes unmanageable. When your team is growing, like tracking all of those KPIs, just make sure you prioritize 1 or 2 things.
Right. And another comment from me on hiring is, I feel proud that I have people that are smarter than me on my team. And, I think sometimes initially you might be, it's kind of scary to have people that are smarter than you in your business. Maybe they're going to want to learn the business, take over the business. There's all these, fears, especially within the Amazon world, because, those of us selling products here, right? Somebody could be on your team, and 2 months later, maybe they launch a product on Amazon. Did you have those fears at all? And because I'm sure teaching all your trade secrets.
That's why you grow a brand for your company and for yourself. So if they leave, they can take that away.
Right.
It stays.
Right. It's a good point. So the answer to that is build a really strong brand.
Honestly, my experience has been there's very, very few people who are going to want to take on that much work and really build a brand. It hasn't been a problem. For me, the hiring, the big difference, and it might sound very strange, but trusting people.
So strange.
It's weird. It's a strange concept. But here's your job. This is your KPI, your key performance indicator. How I know if you're doing your job, go do what you think is right. And trusting that person to actually do a job. Because nowadays there's so much micromanagement, this, that. Guess what? You know how many mistakes I made in selling online? There was a deal and I posted about it on my social media. In a single day, I lost over $1 million.
You did?
I did.
What tells that story?
It was a horrible example, but so we had been on just a ramp up. Every single year, launching products are all succeeding. Launching products are succeeding, and so in 2015 we just launched the first product. 2016 we had 4 products. Okay. Every year it was 4 products, that's good. Let me do more. I'm going to do 1 every month, and I did 12 products. Then I said, let's do 5 every month, right? Let's do 60 products. And then let's do 1 every weekday. That was 250 products. And then I went crazy. Our company was just growing crazy. And I said, let's do 5 products every single day. Let's do 2,500 products in a year. And it was I was running people. I was like, you didn't do a product today? What's wrong with you? Go. And we were doing so many products. And it was crazy because there was a shift in the rules in e-commerce at that time when the products would send normally directly to the marketplace. And there was a change when we were launching our second batch of 500 products. And said you can no longer ship it indirectly. So we had to put in this whole 3PL. And I was planning on those products to sell, to pay the suppliers. We got payment terms. There was a huge explosion. We liquidated literally over $1 million of products that was liquidated. We lost a ton of money. That happened in 1 day when I just said, this is what we're gonna do. So how is it that I would go and hire somebody and tell them, hey, go work it out. If they make a mistake for $5,000, you're gonna fire them? No, mistakes is part of learning. If someone makes a mistake the first time, hey, I made the same mistakes, I made bigger mistakes. But it's saying, you can learn that position, you can make a mistake 1 time, don't make it the second time. But letting the person go and try to figure out the job, and that's what a lot of people get upset on their own. When they have a job, they say, my boss won't let me do this, I can't do this, I have these ideas, this big corporation, I can't implement ideas. No, let people try the ideas and see how it works out in their performance.
Gabriella?
What was the question, sorry?
The customer service.
I call you by your customer service name.
The question was in hiring, how do you hire? What are the tricks to actually hiring and building out a team?
And giving your team the kind of authority and power to, make decisions, to kind of let go, I guess.
You definitely want to incentivize the people that you work with, and I think that partnerships are so important, like not just about your manufacturer, for example. I think that social currency is super important. It's almost more important than, actual currency. If you don't have the money to be able to start and grow a business, at least you might be able to pull some favors from people that you do have social currency with. So we actually had a relationship with one of our old manufacturers for one of our previous brands, and we decided we wanted to partner with them and really incentivize them by giving them equity in our company. So this was a unique way to position us as, front of the line. So if we ever needed anything, if we were running out of stock more quickly than we thought, or that we needed something done really quickly, they would prioritize us because it's also their business. So by partnering with our manufacturer was a unique way for us to structure, and give them almost input in our business, and then they would give us basically all the information, like, okay, these are the next best-selling products, or we're going to be coming out with these new formulations, and we're the first people that they bring it to, so we can be first to market with them. So it's really, really cool to have that sort of relationship. But in terms of hiring and building the A-team, your Avengers, well, it really just comes down to asking the right questions and then finding people who are resourceful and not going to be like, oh, you have to tell me what to do in order to move forward. And a lot of people, they like to be told what to do, but some people also operate in this realm where they love the creativity, they love the freedom to be able to grow with you. And my first partner, like, we grew together, we started a company together, we sold that and we exited it, and then now we have multiple companies together just because we work really well together and we both push each other to be the best possible version in order to make this happen.
Great opportunity. Or how do you decide on sort of separating between what's an opportunity versus a distraction? I'm sure that Marina, for example, right? You have a tremendous following, and probably you get hit up in a variety of fronts on, hey, let's do this business together, let's do this business, because people want to partner with you, I imagine, because you have a big audience. How do you decide opportunity versus waste of time and focus? And yeah, I'd like to hear from all of you. One of the key lines personally for me, somebody once told me, was focus will make you rich. And many times I've learned to say no to opportunity, and what I've learned about myself personally is sometimes you'll say yes out of fear, because hey, I'll go for this opportunity because, like, if the thing I'm doing now doesn't work out, and I'll have this other thing. But it's always proven much better, especially in my agency when we've launched new services, etc. Sometimes they don't work out, and we come back to the fact that we should just stay focused. So I want to hear from you. You must get DMs and lots of people coming your way. How do you decide what projects to take on, what not to take on?
Yeah, I think it's the hardest actually to stay focused, especially even with content, right? Because I have 3 YouTube channels, like a normal creator would have 1. Because there's so much happening in the world. I feel like.
By the way, what are those channels that people want to?
Oh yeah, Silicon Valley Girl, Lingua Marina is another one, is a language learning channel, and I have a language learning company behind that channel. And then Marina Mogilko is just a blogging channel. So the problem is, content, products, the AI, like, trends are constantly changing. And sometimes there are gaps that you really, like, gaps in the algorithm. For example, Shorts came around in 2020 and you could produce mediocre content and it will be pushed to millions of people. I really wanted to be there. So all my focus went into this new opportunity. But at the same time, shall I do a podcast? Shall I do this and that? So I decided that, I have 2 small kids. I really want to spend time with them. So every time I look at a project, I ask myself, will I be there 100%? Or will it be like, oh, I will ask my team to take care of this, and I will ask them to, simplify the process. No, I have to be there 100%. Like this conference, I said yes because I'm super excited about the future of e-commerce and I really want to start my own brand. So it was like 100% yes. But if it's something that is like, it's so important for everyone. thumbnail. And I feel like and it's different for everyone, but I felt like before I reached like $20,000 a month as income as a creator, I would say yes to everything. Because this is your exploration phase. You don't know where your superpower is. You want to try different things. And then 20K to say 50K, this is where you're learning to say no. Like this is where you transition. And after that, it's all about no's, because now you're like getting to the top and you have to focus. You have to stay focused.
Right. I feel like there's a lot of good rules in what you said that you can apply to many areas of your life and business. One thing is you said if it's not what did you say? If it's not like a super excited yes, right? So 100% yes. So I heard this thing, like if it's not a hell yes, it's a no, right? And that applies for me for hiring, right? If I interview someone and, they're okay, you're not sure, right? Like if it's not a hell yes, probably don't want to proceed. It usually does not end up working out in that case. Taking on a project, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. But another thing you said reminds me of another thing that I learned that, people say this, you said $20,000, but people say, in your 20s, maybe in your 30s, you should say yes to a lot of things, but as you get into your 40s, 50s, etc., you should probably be saying no to almost everything, right? Because hopefully you have more of a focus at that point. Anyone else want to add?
Yeah, so I'm really bad at this.
You probably get hit up, and you also acquire brands, right? So you probably get hit up for brands to acquire, and that's also a shiny object.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I say yes to almost everything. I love saying yes. I love taking on projects. I love partnerships. I love products. I'm out there and I'm like, I want to source half the products in that showroom over there. I'm at the store and I'm at the mall and all I'm looking at is products I want to source.
But do you have someone in your company that says, Aaron, not a good move that you listen to?
That's my wife.
There we go. Okay.
Whatever she says no to very emphatically, then I generally drop. But I basically try to pursue everything. If it gets me excited, then I want to do it. Products get me excited, services, everything. So I think the things that people say yes to, because this conversation, most people think, what are the business things I'm going to say yes and no to? But I challenge people to say, maybe you can say no to this binge watching of a TV show, and you can say yes to 2 business opportunities. And have fun. I have a lot more fun, depends on the TV show. But sourcing a product and putting a launch, than sitting down and doing like mindless activity.
Right.
And so I think that the shift can be, it's not a 40-hour work week, and there's not a 4-hour work week. If you make work fun, if you do something you're passionate about, right? If you're launching a health product thing, if you're writing books for children that you're passionate about, you'll do that day in and day out, all day long. So I think say yes to things you get excited about. Happens I get excited about a lot of things, so I say yes to a lot of stuff, and then my wife tells me no.
Right, and I mean, it goes back to your what you shared about the integrator visionary, right? Because you obviously are visionary. Based on what you just said, right? You say yes, you get excited about ideas, you probably have ideas, but then you need that person in your business that's going to keep you focused. My CEO, who's somewhere in this room, when I tell him like, hey, I want to do this, and he might say, hey, like, here's why we shouldn't, or he might say, yes, but I need 3 weeks to put in the right systems so that we don't blow up the company because you want to do this. And you have to have both of those things, I think pressing on the gas and also the right person who will slow you down a little bit, or you be the person who slows down and puts the right systems in place to implement something. I want to talk a little bit about AI to scale or technology. And do you see AI as a threat or opportunity? And for example, talking about content, right? Easier to create content now. There's video tools coming out where you can have not even you, the one doing the videos.
It's crazy.
Are you taking advantage of AI? Is AI a threat? How do you, and for those sitting in the room, how should they be thinking about, maybe using AI for content or in other ways?
Yeah, there are amazing tools out there now. So one of the tools that we use almost on a daily basis is a tool that lets you generate your thumbnails. So you don't have to take any more pictures.
What's the name of that tool?
That's a great question. I have a team behind that who does it. I think it's
Okay.
Perfluence, something like that.
Perfluence?
Yeah. So basically, you give a photo to AI and tell AI what to do with your photo. Like, place Marina in a nice apartment, surround her with balloons because we're doing a video. She's celebrating 8 million followers, and it would do a very nice thumbnail. Another thing, scripting. AI can generate. Just be careful. ChatGPT is not the best tool. There is Perplexity AI that is a good one.
Which tool?
Perplexity AI.
Perplexity?
Yeah, it's good for doing research because it lists all the sources. ChatGPT will just throw information at you, and then it might not be 100% true. But Perplexity AI will give you all the sources that it's using. Descript is another cool app that clones your voice. So all of the podcasts, just imagine, the script can be generated by Perplexity, read by Descript, and an AI generated thumbnail. You don't have to be there. Like, my goal is to clone myself. And in 2 years, I will be the producer of my own content. I will tell my AI version what to talk about.
Right.
And I feel like
Sounds funny now, but you know.
But this is where I feel like this is where it's all headed. And also, we were able, in my educational company, we were able to hire people who speak intermediate English to do sales and customer support because they can use ChatGPT to check everything. And you pay, they cost like $10 an hour. So for some repeated jobs, it really makes sense to just outsource that.
I'll share, those are all great tips. I'll share a few things we're doing at my company utilizing AI. One, we use a tool called Meet Cody. It allows us to upload all of our standard operating procedures into it. And then our team, we have about 75 people on our team. Our team can actually, instead of trying to find something in the SOP, they actually go in and search Cody and they ask it questions and just interacts with our SOP. So it's all our data and they use that. We also utilize Claude, which is in Slack, which is like a ChatGPT, but you can use it right within Slack for communication. We also have a team overseas, so it's very helpful. We have a sentiment checker. So in our company, our clients are with us in a Slack channel, and we can have ChatGPT read all the client-only communication and give us a sentiment score monthly. So if the client's using certain language, I have concerns, certain things, so we get a score, and it can help us potentially find issues with the channels. I also have ChatGPT reading every single one of my emails every half hour, and then it categorizes them into tabs, into labels in Gmail with action, read, waiting for, and meetings. I have an assistant also who kind of verifies that, so everything goes into also for review, but it saves her a lot of time in categorizing my emails. And you can do a lot of this with tools like ChatGPT, and then using something like Zapier or Make.com, and integrate kind of a few tools together and have it work. And it's super cheap. We pay for the API, and it could be pennies to read my email. So how about Aaron, Melissa, utilizing any AI in the business?
We use AI pretty much almost every day in our business now. It's essentially cutting back all the fluff and all the tedious work. So we actually use it a lot for copywriting, especially in the Amazon world. You're familiar that the name of the game is SEO, indexing for the right keywords. So we can use tools like, I know Brandon Young is here, we use Data Dive to find out which keywords to target. We'll basically copy and paste all of those keywords into ChatGPT and ask it to write me a product description or bullet points and integrate these keywords throughout. And it does about, I'd say, 80-90% of the work. And then obviously you have to go in and you can comb through it, but you can also, make it funny. You can give it a voice. Before, when we first started out, we actually hired a comedian to write all of our stuff. So we thought that was, an interesting way to give your brand a voice, where we actually paid someone someone who is actually funny, because I'm not funny. I was like, I can't do stand-up. Like, there's no way that...
You don't say.
Well, I mean, that's why you hire the people that are good at things that you're not good at. So when I basically found this comedian, and we noticed that overnight we were seeing, you know, a lot more opens, basically a lot of clickbait, that type of thing. So sort of related to creating content for you when it comes to e-commerce, we have to split test a lot of that stuff as well. And by using ChatGPT now, I can ask it to write me 30 headlines for an email to send out to my audience and make it, you know, fun and make it...
Can you ask it to sound like a comedian? Like ChatGPT, but sound like a comedian?
Exactly, yeah. Or you can give it a voice. You can say, oh, like, can you write me a caption that sounds like Crystalia? Or you can actually name, like, famous comedians, and it'll write it in their voice, which is crazy.
That's amazing.
I feel like I'm getting old. AI is too much for me.
Too much?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I literally don't use AI for anything, but some people on my team do. I've done tests, for example, like, hey, write me for this marketplace title, write me a title, and I've had people come and show me, hey, look at this, and I look at it and I go, this title's terrible. And you asked another question, like, is AI a threat? Anybody who's seen Mission Impossible, you know the answer is yes. I mean, listen, I don't know.
I could say to ChatGPT, like, hey, look through these Zule products and make them better, or, right? Like, potentially, do you see that as a threat, or is your product development team using things like Midjourney and AI to come up with designs?
The images are amazing. I have seen some editing with images. It turns out very, very good. And I think that's probably the one that's the most robust, because in image editing, there's a lot of tedious work. And in the copywriting, I haven't seen it to be good enough for me, right, for my standards. But at the same time, when we have a bulk of so many products, either way, it's a person doing it and they may not be trained good enough. So I don't use it personally, the truth is, but there are some people on my team that figure out different things. I'm interested. Did you actually publish a podcast of, like, the AI version of yourself?
We did bits. So for example, if I do like a brand deal and the brand comes back and says, oh, we want to change the messaging and I'm traveling, so my team will just use my AI generated voice to create a voiceover of the things they wanted me to say. And it sounds 95% like me.
I mean, I think that's part of the threat. You know, I know it's funny, like, it's not talking about, like, AI threat thing, but the truth is there's a lot of impersonation, and there's a lot of things that could happen in the future where Liron told his employee they were yelling at him in the bathroom or something, and then someone made that up, right? So I think the threat is in people thinking it's real when it's not, and I do think that is coming. And in media and editing, there's so much of that already.
Right.
And I think we'll be seeing a lot of that.
I think we'll see both legislation and tools that will allow you to authenticate.
Verify.
The founder of OpenAI just came out with something called WorldCoin, which is digital cryptocurrency to be able to verify your identity actually being you.
And AI is going to solve that. And AI will authenticate however they do it. Like, in the end, all of these authentication proving can also be hacked. There can't, like, anyway, I think there's going to be a point where you can't just say it was verified or not by some system, because at the end of the day, that system can be hacked as well. I'm a programmer by trade. I did programming before I got into e-commerce, and anything can be hacked.
Imagine telling ChatGPT to create a list of best-selling products, A/B test ads, or like Facebook ads, Amazon ads, so what's selling best, order that product from Alibaba, and just run the whole business for you.
Yeah.
Boom. We're all dead. We're all gone. We have no business.
There's actually a guy on Twitter. You can probably find the Twitter thread who said to ChatGPT, I am your assistant, you're the CEO, I have $100 to start a business, and ChatGPT recommended like a print on demand, built a website, and I think now the guy's raising money because he had like so much success with it, and he did this publicly on X now, and now it's actually a legitimate business, and I actually want to jump into that. There are probably people sitting here, they have physical product stores or selling at e-commerce, and they want to build an audience. Where would you start today if you want to get a following? There's all these different channels, right? TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, X, Facebook, LinkedIn. Where would you start if you have a product and you want to build an audience. And what do you think the biggest mistakes people who are making in terms of their content? In my mind, I think the biggest mistake is if you have a product brand, you just talk about your product instead of like trying to find an audience for something, and then how your product can sort of be weaved in along the way. But where would you start today? Like, let's say you had a kitchen brand and you wanted to build an audience. What would you do tomorrow as soon as you got, or whatever, next week?
Absolutely. So short videos. The algorithm is still, there is still more demand than supply. So it's very easy to go viral with short videos. And I know a lot of creators who just started 3 weeks ago and they already have 10,000 subscribers just because they've been posting every day.
YouTube Shorts?
YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels. The format is slightly different, but what we see is that the same video performs on every platform. And what's really important, yes, think about your audience versus thinking about yourself. So for example, you're featuring a product. I was making this short video, so we have this language learning app, and instead of just doing like a video, let's review this app, what's inside, I made a video, 5 language learning habits for non-native English speakers. And I was just showing my day. Hey, I'm a non-native speaker, and these are the top 5 things I prefer to do every single day to work on my accent. 1, 2, 3. All of those things featured the app. And we got 5,000 new users. So this is how it works. You focus on your audience's problems versus focusing on just, let's review the product, it's amazing. And then be slightly controversial. Like, there has to be something. Like, I did this video about what kids eat at schools in the US. And I could do like, let's look at a typical meal.
So what was your
in America.
Thumbnail or title?
You call Americans fat?
So there are no thumbnails on shorts.
No thumbnails.
But I was complaining because I come from a country where we really care about healthy food, and I did a tour of American school, and it was like burgers and fries.
Right.
So my video was called "What's Wrong with American Schools?" And I was like, let me tell you, this was my first tour. I come from a foreign country, blah blah blah. It was like 10 million views. So I could have called it in a different way, like, oh, let's tour an American school. Boring. So it has to be controversial. It has to be something where some people would disagree and tell me like, hey, burgers are great. And some people would be like, oh yeah.
So what was your hook?
What's wrong with American schools?
Oh, what's wrong with American schools?
Yeah. So it has to, think about this hook that's gonna create this mode around your video for the first 3 seconds. They're really important.
Got it. Let's talk a little bit about tools and tech, and obviously we're here at Alibaba conference. How have you leveraged, let's say, technology in terms of sourcing, looking at products? Aaron?
I mean, people, there's this, I think a bit of a lie, a rumor that is spread sometimes, that Alibaba is like for the small newbies, right? And I will tell you that at the size we're at now, we are on Alibaba.com every single day. We are there looking at products, looking at trends, because even if you have a great factory for a product, the way that the sourcing works is that a factory is good at a certain thing. The factory has their own superpower. There's a factory, and they might be good just at making TVs. And unless you're gonna only sell TVs, you will need to find another factory. And the way to find the factory, I'm sorry, but these things, most of them are not made here in the US. If you're doing hard goods, like this furniture, if you're doing something hard good, the majority of it is made somewhere else.
Right.
And so on Alibaba.com, we go there every single day. We have various, not just one person, but various people who are looking in on trends, looking in on what's big on the marketplaces, what's big on social media, what's coming big on wherever it is, and we're planning ahead and saying, hey, how can we make our product better? And sometimes you can be working with a factory and you're gonna need to find a different one. And you have massive, huge, there was this Verified Pro program. They've had, and I was talking to Alibaba and they were saying, when they do a verified check for the suppliers, that is a factory you're working with. Now realize that a factory you're working with, it means they produce certain products, but they're not gonna produce everything. So we work with probably, I wanna say, over 75 different factories. and the vast majority of them we have found on Alibaba. So, I mean, how do we use it? We connect with suppliers and find people who make products. Like, and those guys are startups too. So the way we look at startups is like, oh, you know, Silicon Valley, like the TV girls and this.
Silicon Valley girl.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's like the stereotypes, but realistically, startups, they're startups here, and just how I have a startup,
Right.
the factory can be a startup, and they can create and patented a new technology for some microphone that does some sort of, I don't know, it does some echoing or some vibration, I have no idea. But that factory can be just popping up, and you can connect with them, and the way that you connect with them is through Alibaba. So I think that if you're gonna be on the pulse of e-commerce, you need to be on there frequently.
Yeah, I personally used Alibaba since 2015. One of the things I found Alibaba really helped me with was, number one, speed, because I would go on usually at night. I live on the East Coast, New York, and I would go on at like 9, 10 o'clock at night, and it's morning in China, and I'll be able to literally chat with the suppliers right there, talk to them, negotiate. By the way, my trick was, I was not the owner, I was the buyer, and when I wanted to negotiate, they would give me a price. I would say, well, the board didn't approve that price, so I apologize. That's a little hack on negotiating. You know, appearing bigger, it's good, and also I would always ask for pricing on, okay, what's the minimum order, but also what's the container size for my second order. So I would get kind of the future price, and I could think about my margins on my first order may be less because I'm ordering less, but what are my margins going to be when I can place a container type order? So some tips, but I would go on at night and chat with multiple suppliers really quick, and then I saw a lot of the announcements today on, you know, image search and the ability to view the factory, and a lot of updates obviously since then.
Is you get multiple people, chat with a lot of suppliers.
Right. Yeah.
You know, our first product we sourced, we got quotes and we got samples from maybe 9 different factories for one product. And we tested, and you know, we had quotes from $5.60 down to $2.50 for the same product. I mean, more than double. And I said, well, I want the best quality, so I'm going to order the sample for the $5.50 or whatever. And so I got all those in, and we did a blind test. And I really recommend this for anybody who's doing a physical products brand. Like, don't look at the supplier name. Name it A, B, C, or D or something. Have someone else do it.
You can have a company in China consolidate and check samples for you also.
I wouldn't do it.
Wouldn't?
No.
Why? Well,
Because
to check it first before they send it to you.
yeah, before they ship it to you. Yeah. At the end of the day, your job is a simple one. You're fully responsible for the product that the customer gets. That is
Right.
my service to my customer. I need to make sure that what they're going to get is fantastic. And there's no company who's going to do it better than me because it's my company.
Do you inspect every order still from old suppliers, or if you?
Yes.
Yes.
That is a hard-bound rule. I heard a story of a guy who had been selling product into Walmart for 20 years, and he stopped checking inspections, I don't know, on year 18. And there was one shipment that went in, and every item was broken. And Walmart dropped the entire business and never gave him another chance.
Wow.
So you're talking about like a factory, no factory is perfect, right? And you can find inspection companies, but at the end of the day, your product, you check at least the sample and you see which one's best. So back to finishing this, I checked all of them. I did the blind test. The number one product happened to also be the cheapest. The very best product, blind tested, was the cheapest one as well. And the one that was like $5.50, it was actually like a trading company, and they were just marking it up, and it was a bad product. So at the end of the day, you can't go, you have to test it, and then you do the inspections for every shipment. Never drop the inspections, always do them. It keeps pressure on them, and generally make your product good and make it stand out and pick a great factory at a great price. And you can't negotiate price if you don't have multiple offers. Anyway.
Melissa?
I actually have a similar story where we waived inspection because we've been working with this, supplier for a very long time, and we had this vitamin C serum, and basically with the droppers, it's a glass pipette and it's a certain length. However, the ones that they had sent us were about 3 millimeters too long, and it doesn't seem like a lot. Like 3 millimeters seems like small size, but the dropper, it was actually touching the bottle, like the bottom of the bottle, and in transit, because you know, UPS drivers, Amazon delivery drivers, they just throw your package, they don't care, and then it lands on the customer's porch, and then basically it was just enough friction to shatter the pipette. So this was a huge liability because people were cutting themselves, like we had a couple of complaints, and as soon as we got like the first 3 complaints, we were like, this is bad, we have to recall all of that. So we recalled all of it, it was a huge loss, and then we basically went back to our manufacturer or supplier for those pipettes and said, hey, like this is a problem, what are we gonna do about it? And they said, oh, we'll just send you, more pipettes. So we thought they were gonna just send us more pipettes. They literally just sent us like the glass part of it, so we had to, basically we had like 10,000 pipettes that had way too long of stems, and we had to go in and replace all of them individually, hand by hand. So I'm in my living room with my fiance, we're like hand replacing all of these, and like you're basically just in the grind. You have to do it, you have to get it done, or it's a waste, really.
So we're about out of time. I want to go lightning round. 1 tip, scaling, 10, 15 seconds each one on scaling business.
Just challenge yourself. Anything that you think you maybe can't do, you probably can do. You are underestimating yourself this minute. For sure, guaranteed, every single one of you in this room, including myself and everybody here on stage, we are doing far less than we are capable of. Okay? We were brought here by a higher power, whatever you think, whatever you believe in, but you have more inside of yourself than you think. Don't sell yourself short and dream bigger and shoot bigger. Go way bigger than you think, because you may just make it.
Very good. I'll share mine. It's kind of similar. My thing is that before you go to your next level, I think at every single level, you're going to be challenged along the way, and you're going to have to run into brick walls. And similarly, the universe is testing you like playing Mario, right? And at the end of each one of those levels, you have the big bad guy, right? And in order for you to get to your next level, you have to fight that bad guy. You're going to lose multiple times. It's really about, can you get back up? Can you overcome? Believing in yourself, and understanding actually that that's just how things work. You're gonna have challenges, but that's the test before you get to your next level.
Start sharing what you've learned. Start talking about yourself with the world, because how else would people know about you? This is my #1 advice.
Alyssa?
Get scrappy. I mean, you're gonna have to do the same things that you were doing day one as you are doing when you're a 7-8 figure business. I mean, I went to a conference, and he's Charlie Rocket, massive speaker, and he was handing out flyers to get people to see him, even though he's this big brand name, like everyone knows who he is. He was personally still doing the grind work and really just showing how much he cares and how much he's passionate about what he's doing, that he's still gonna be doing it no matter what. So get scrappy in your marketing, be resourceful. And also, quick tip for you guys, if you run like a quick social media giveaway, it's a good way to get traction on a post, then change the caption on that, and then what you're gonna do is run ads to that. You already have engagement on it, and that's gonna convert a lot better than a post from scratch.
Amazing. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Given that I'm in the banking industry, my suggestion for you when you're considering your banking needs would be pick a bank that have locations across both here and wherever you need to source your supply from. So this way, you only have to deal with one bank, and that's much easier.
But to be honest, like as from a business perspective, if you really, like the world is a really, really complex place, and there's so many area out there. And when you're thinking of to expand to a location or to a region, truly understand what the destination is, truly understand the local kind of environment, I think is super, super important, because you don't want to stretch your thing. You heard all the things about, oh, this is good, that is good, then you started to go all, and then you short of your resource. So I always think that important to do your research to understand which one is right fit for you is really important. And obviously, if you come to us, we'll help you to find that. But focus on what is best for you is really important.
Joy?
Okay, think about this keyword, digitalizations. Personally, I used to be a financial company 20 years ago. At the time, I was in charge of stock system trading. And at the time, when they buy and sell stock, people visit the branch in person and buy and sell stock. But at the time, thanks to the IT technology, online trading was booming. And think about now, who go to the branch and buy a stock? If you need buy some stock, you just pick up your phone and see the price and place an order. So what will happen in the logistics in the future? Now, still, logistics is a traditional business. But some people look at the screen and make a booking. But eventually, in the long run, everybody just use mobile to place a booking and to secure the space. So think about digitalizations in logistics.
Great. Thank you so much.